Hello friends, Patrick McFarland here with another Liberty Daily vlog series. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about Frederick Bastiat's The Law here, and specifically, I'm not going to be talking about the seen versus the unseen, but I wanted to talk about the realization that the law is force. And to prompt this, I wanted to do a little reading from Frederick Bastiat. Since the law organizes justice, the socialists ask why the law should not also organize labor, education, and religion. Why should not law be used for these purposes? Because it could not organize labor, education, and religion without destroying justice first. We must remember that law is force and that consequently the proper functions of the law cannot lawfully extend beyond the proper functions of force. When law and force keep a person within the bounds of justice, they impose nothing but a mere negation. They oblige him only to abstain from harming others. They violate neither his personality, his liberty, nor his property. They safeguard all of these. They are defensive. They defend equally the rights of all. And all too often, I think that people outside of our sphere, or I guess I call them normies, don't really realize that the law is force in our system. And I think that's maybe one of the biggest cognitive dissonances behind the idea of taxation being theft, or I think more accurately, taxation being extortion. But one thing that I always try when I talk to normies or someone who's unfamiliar with libertarianism is try to frame the non-aggression principle in the means of when you think force is necessary. So when libertarians get into these tiny or these ridiculously nuanced debates about, oh, what's the libertarian stance on X? You know, what's the libertarian stance on abortion, for instance? I'll take this one. Super controversial topic. But I think that although I'm pro-life personally within my own belief system, I always try and think of what would a libertarian society or perhaps a theoretical dispute resolution organization or a DRO, what would they do to a woman who aborted her child? In which instance would an offense be so grave that you'd be willing to advocate violence against someone? And I think that really comes down to it. What would you have done to a woman who aborted her child? Would you lock her in a cage? And I don't know. Personally, I don't think the answer is yes for that instance. Although I do believe that abortion is wrong. Another instance is, well, yes, it's wrong to hit your children, but if someone swatted their child on the bottom or something like that, there needs to be an equal and opposite reaction. So if someone maybe hit their child, not enough to bruise or anything like that, but it was beyond a slap, let's say, the child isn't severely injured, would you have the parent be put in a cage for that? Would you and if the parent resisted being put in a cage, would you physically overcome their resistance, incapacitate them, and put them in a cage? Law is force, and the non-aggression principle really needs to be framed in that personal, kind of in a Larkin Rose candles in the dark situation, but framed in that very personal, what would you physically do to someone to prevent them from aggressing or to prevent them from doing something that you think is distasteful? And by applying the non-aggression principle to difficult things like abortion, I think it can give us a new insight where we bring it down to that microscopic level of what would you personally have done to someone who violated whatever law you would like to write or whatever judgment that a court would enforce. What would you have done to them to secure their compliance if they did not comply? And I think when it comes to crime, or what we know currently as crime, this question is more easy. But when it gets more difficult to, like, when someone violates a contractual obligation, that's when it gets more difficult. You know, when it comes down to things that are a little more hairy than just someone striking someone else, I think that's when we can look to the non-aggression principle in terms of, okay, when would you justify using force? If someone scammed someone else out of $1,000, or if someone had a multi-million-dollar contract to build a building and they default on those obligations, maybe that is a time when you would advocate putting that person in a cage. There are other ways to secure compliance, but when someone refuses to submit to the jurisdiction of a dispute resolution agency, yes, we can take away their good standing in the community and we can shame them or ostracize them, but there are some even financial things that require force. And when would that force be justified is the question that I'd like to pose today. So, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed today's Liberty Daily Vlog series. Be sure to give me a thumbs up, give me a like on Facebook, subscribe via YouTube, BitChute, PewTube, all those platforms. I will link, as always, in the comments below. And have a great Monday, everyone. And be sure to keep your eyes open for Liberty Weekly podcast updates this week. I have some interviews planned with Keith Knight of Keith Knight's Don't Tread on Anyone YouTube channel and the great meme lord MANCE RAYDER as well. So looking to talk about his book, Freedom Through Memedom, the 31-Day Guide to Waking Up to Liberty. Should be good stuff, so keep your eyes out.